Hello friends, Scott with Load Manager TMS Software here. You're about to watch a recorded presentation that I did for my friend Tyris, who teaches a freight broker and dispatch services training class for his students. I hope you enjoy it.
Okay. So the first thing you want to do when you sign on a new carrier that you're going to dispatch for is just going to access the carrier's menu in the Load Manager system, and you're going to click Add Carrier. From here, you can enter in their MC number, their DOT number, and you can automatically enter in their name and address information and so forth. I just put in a random MC number and happened to find this American JS Trucking, and it all looks fine. Notice I did not have to enter in their street address, name, city, state, phone numbers, or any of that. It automatically pulled it up for me.
Now, let me ask you this. So if they get a new carrier, all they got to do is type in a MC or DOT number and then all that information to come up?
That's right.
Okay. Now, as far as document, from this, once they get the TMS site, are they able to like upload carrier dispatcher agreement where they could just send that over instead of creating a document, have to email it to everyone? Is there something you can put on the TMS site where you can just email it?
Yeah. So right here, there's an attached files that you could click to attach documents. And then right here is an email document button. You could just click to email them. So answer is yes.
Okay.
I free email documents. Yeah. Okay. So once I do everything I need in my email, I get everything on my computer.
If you have a more elaborate onboarding agreement that you want a digital signature on, we also have the capability of doing digital signatures similar to DocuSign, but it's from a different vendor, and it has the digital signature, and they have to click and sign, and so we have that capability as well. Okay, so once you have the carrier's main information in, you want to identify what type of a dispatching fee you're going to charge them. So most of our dispatching companies charge a percentage, let's say maybe like 8% or something like that.
Yeah.
If you prefer to charge a flat dollar amount per dispatch, you can do that as well. And that's as simple as it is. That's all there is to do to setting up a new carrier.
Gotcha.
Question?
No, that's a whole lot easier. Once they get their MC number, once they get that agreement, they could just type in the MC number and pull up all the information and have it as, the customer profile.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. So we'll get out of that screen. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to build a load that we're going to dispatch for the new carrier.
Okay.
All right, so in this instance, I just go ahead and click Add Load, and I'm going to put in, who the shipper is. So, well, first of all, we'll set the shipper in this instance. We'll do it for, let's say it's Benjamin Moore Paints. So they're located in Vernon, Mountain Vale, New Jersey. And we're going to pick up, they manufacture in the same location. So we're going to pick it up from the same location. And then they want us to dispatch this to some Home Depots here on Long Island. So we'll put in the Home Depot in Long Island City. And we'll put in a pickup date of tomorrow. We have an appointment time of 10 a.m. So we'll put in 10:100 hours. And we have a delivery date. It's going to be a same day delivery. So, and that has to be delivered by, let's say, 1600 hours. And then we're going to put the carrier that we're dispatching for. I'm going to choose one that I already have in the system called Backwoods Transporter. And then we also want to put in how much the carrier is charging. So let's say they're going to charge $750 for this load. I'm going to put that in for both the customer and the carrier side. It helps with reporting. And then I'm going to click the save button, and that's it. I've just created a new load that I'm ready to dispatch. Now, dispatching is nothing more than either emailing or texting the driver. So you can see right here on my screen, I have a dispatch report. We can just look at that just to see what it looks like. And it has your pickup and your delivery and the dates and times. Pretty straightforward. This is everything the driver needs to go and pick up the information. if I did want to add some accessorials, because honestly, picking up some paint can be pretty heavy. So number one, which I didn't do, which I kind of should have done, is I should put in that what they're picking up be 12 pallets of paint. And we're going to say that's going to be about 12,000 pounds. And then we're also going to add a lumper fee on here. And the lumper fee is right here. We're going to charge $250 for loading that on there. And now if I save this and look at the dispatch report again, you'll see it now has on there the 12 pounds of paint, 12,000 pounds, and then the lumper fee of $250.
What's the lumper fee though?
What's the lumper fee?
Yeah, you can go ahead and explain it to them.
Yeah, so lumper fee is for the driver. Actually, they'll have, sometimes on the back of the truck, they'll have a little forklift or something, and there actually will load the 12 pounds of paint from the yard into the truck.
Okay.
And they'll charge separately for that. If they don't have to do that, and they have a yard personnel with their own forklift, and they're going to go ahead and load that into the truck, then, you know, they could avoid that lumper fee.
Okay.
Why did you put the $750 under customer as well as carrier? Isn't the customer the shipping company?
Right. So, excellent question. You really only need to put it underneath the carrier. The reason why I put it underneath the customer is because we have other customer reports which you might find helpful. And just as a matter of habit, I like to put it in both. But honestly, you don't have to put it in both. Putting it in the carrier would be just fine.
Okay.
And I'll show you how that comes into play. Because if you're going to do invoicing services for the carrier, that's exactly where this would come into play. Any other questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. So now that we have this load in here, we dispatched it to the driver. I just did a preview on that, but you could also click the email button here, and you could email it to the driver. And then we also have the capability of doing a mobile raycon, a mobile dispatch, which it would actually send it to the driver's cell phone. And when we do it that way, the driver can actually send us their location via GPS. And so we'll know exactly where the load is at all times. And that becomes even more important when you're actually doing freight brokering, because now it's more of your responsibility to know what's going on with that load. It's not just I dispatched it and I'm done. You have to be aware where it is it going to be on time, and so forth.
Right.
Okay. So now that we've added the carrier and we've created a load and we've done the dispatch, we're going to follow this load through its normal load cycle. And it's going to obviously arrive and get loaded and depart and so forth, eventually being delivered. And once it's delivered, at that point, you know, as a dispatcher, you probably want to be able to be paid for dispatching it. You've tracked it all the way through, so you know you want to be able to print out a dispatch settlement report that you could send out to your carriers. So in this instance, if I look at Backwoods Carrier, Backwoods Transporter, I'll just do a search, I'll pull them up. You'll see we have our dispatch fee at 7%. So if I go in here and I go to reports and I say I want to view my reports by carrier, and I'm just going to open up the dates a little bit here. We're going to do it from that date forward because we don't have a whole lot of data in our demo system. And I'm going to do it for the carrier Backwoods Transporter. This way we just do it for one particular carrier. And I want to know what my pay is going to be. This now is going to generate a report that's going to show every load that I dispatched for the carrier for this time period, what the amount of the load was, and what my 7% fee is going to be. So in this case, we have load number 54762, 776, 817, blah, 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 all the way down, list them. And so the carrier is going to owe us $676 for dispatching of these 17 loads. Now, obviously, some of these don't make sense. We have some zeros here and whatnot. That's just some bad data on our side. But the point being is this now becomes your billing report for the carrier for the loads that you've dispatched. Okay, so any question on that?
And you got to put in backwoods to get that report, right?
Yes. Or you could do it for all of them. You could leave this blank and you could do it for all of them and it'll print for all of them.
Nah, I'm saying I like that it's grouped together, but I was saying that it got to be specifically for one company, right? That'll put them all.
No, realistically, if you're doing your regular operations, you probably would not enter it the way that I did. And see where it says page break after each group? You would leave this check. I took it off just to give us focus on what we want to look at. With this being checked and me not selecting backwoods transported here, I'm doing it for all of them.
Right.
What then happens is it does it for all of them and it does a separate page break between each carrier. So it does all of them at the same time, but yet it separates them for us. So here it put this one on one page. Then we go to the next page, there's another one. And the next page, this is Jose Diaz. And so we can do all of them at the same time as well.
Okay.
All right, so now if we're gonna, move into brokerage, we can actually still operate our dispatch services company within our brokerage company, and we can still service those clients. But now if you're going to broker your own freight, now what you do is when you enter in a carrier, the process is really the same. The only difference is on this dispatch fee, you're going to enter that in as a 0 because you're not charging the carrier a dispatch fee. The carrier is actually your vendor. You're paying them now, and you're getting the spread between the shipper amount and what the carrier is being paid. So in that instance, when we add a new load, let's say we're doing the same thing, and now we're going to take over Benjamin Moore, and we may, Benjamin Moore likes the way we handle the freight. They want us to, dispatch it to other companies or whatever. Now when I build a load for Benjamin Moore, I'll put in Home Depot. I thought I had Ace Hardware in there, but we'll just select this one here. So now I'm going to charge them freight broker rate, and I'll probably charge them $900. And we're still going to pay the driver $750. So now the spread on that is going to be about a 14% profit, $150. And now the way that this works is I'm going to be dispatching it to the actual carrier like I did before, except now what happens is when I want to be paid, instead of sending off a dispatch services report, I'm going to send the customer an invoice for $900.
Okay.
So in this case, I have the invoice button. I'm going to click on that. And you can see here now, this is an invoice. Gives me the invoice number. The amount is $900. And it has a similar information. Notice the carrier information is not on the system. It's not on this invoice. That is something you want to keep private as a freight broker,
right?
And that basically the process is the same. There are a few additional steps that you're going to want to do. Like as a freight broker, you want to keep track of the proof of delivery, and you're going to attach that to the load. And then when you bill them, you can actually email it, and you can include all proof of delivery documents as billing attachments. So you could do your invoicing in a paperless manner. And then, your reports that you have. Now, when you print it, you can print it straight up. You don't have to group it by carrier. You can just see what your general profit margin is across the board. And we can generate some loads here for the past, I guess, month or so. So we'll just click view reports on that. And, you got your totals here. Obviously, I didn't pick a good date range because it's all zeros, but you still get that reporting capability. And from there, you also have things like, you have a dashboard, which is nice, which allows you to see your company's performance over time. You can do this year, you can do last month, you can do it by sales, you can do it by carrier. And let's see, let's do a bigger date range. Let's go from the first. Yeah, delivered to completed. So we get something good here. All right, that shows you a little bit better information. You can see your top performers down here. Which month was your top performer. If you do it if you have a sales team, you could do it by sales rep and see who your top performer in sales is, and so forth.
And then 418,000.
And those are the basics of how you would get started using the software.
Okay, now a couple questions. How many carriers and brokers can they put in here?
There's really no limit. We've
Okay.
had, tens of thousands of carriers and, brokers and customers input it into the system.
Okay. And also, so just say Monday, once they get signed up with you, once they get their first load with then a broker or a dispatcher, are you able to walk them through putting their first one in?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just speak to that a little bit. So when you sign up with Load Manager, you're going to get 2 emails. One is going to be a copy of your order, and the other one's going to be a logon credentials, username and password. We also include an 8-minute video showing you pretty much what I've shown you just now. We ask that you go through and just familiarize yourself with that 8-minute video and the system. And then when you're ready to enter in your first live load, we do suggest that you give us a call and just have you walk you through it fresh. Make sure everything is in there correctly. Make sure you can print out your dispatch report or your Raycon if you're doing freight brokering. And we will do that one-on-one training with you. Absolutely.
Question, it's kind of off topic, but say I wanted to send a attachment from Google Maps or something. Am I able to send a map through the attachment to the carrier?
And what would be on the map?
Just the route, basically.
Is it something where he can send to the driver to map out their route for them?
Yeah, you can do that. Typically, it's not done just because they have their own way of doing it. But yeah, the answer is yes. There's a Google Map button right here, and this will give you the route and the turn-by-turn directions.
Right.
And you can certainly send this to the driver, yes.
That's what I needed to know. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And, along the same lines, what is also really, really cool about this system is that we have the ability to trigger email updates. So you see there's a button here that says email updates.
Right.
So what does that mean? That means that whenever a load status change happens, so if this was in a dispatch status and then we changed it to arrived, that would trigger an email. And you can even see on my screen that it said status update was emailed. And what happens is the stakeholders of the load, whether it be your own in-house sales rep, your own in-house dispatcher, the shipper, or the carrier, they will get this email. This is exactly how it would look. And when they click on this view location update, it will show them the actual location of the driver for the load. And we have that capability right here. We can just click on this link right here, and it would show us exactly where the driver is. On this route, you'd see like a little image of a truck and so forth.
Right.
And so, not only could we send the route to the driver at the start of the load, but we'd also send out updates to any load stakeholders as to the progress of that load with that map.
Okay.
Yeah, how many load boards can you integrate onto this site?
We integrate with over 50 load boards. And the way that we do that, let me switch this back to active so we'll see the load boards on the screen here. Once it's dispatched and booked, we hide these load boards. All right, so you can see here we have 5 listed. Now, of these 5, Load Board Network is one that posts to about 50 different load boards. So we have the most popular load boards here that you can post directly to.
Yeah, I told them about 123 load board, direct freight, DAT, and TruckStop. But load board network, you said that's presented to 50 different load boards.
Right. And they charge, I think, $29 a month for that. You would use that if you need more activity. You're not getting enough calls for interest for the loads that you have open. We have a user menu here. We could define all your different users. And then underneath each user, you have the capability of adding the load board option. You put in your credentials here and here. You save it, and then it'll post up to the load board and it'll include that user's, information.
Okay, and so to clarify for them, when you say user, so just say they have a broker authority and they want just say 3 brokers to broker under their authority. They
Right.
could use the same TMS software.
That's correct. Or they could even be dispatchers, or they could even be sales reps that are developing new shippers to add into the system. Yeah.
Okay.
Could also be an accounting person, someone who does all the invoicing and payments and things like that.
And up to how many users can you have under one account?
There's no limit, although we do charge. You have to have a user license for each user. So although you can add multiple users down on here, you can add as many users as you want, but only the amount of licenses that you have will be able to log in at the same time. And for a license, it's $79 a month for the dispatch services license.
What does
The
that even mean?
software, go ahead.
What is like the license? What does that even mean? Right? I'm lost.
That just means that if I want to log into the system, so if I log out, for me to log in requires one user license. If I don't have a license, it will tell me, you know, you don't have a license and it won't let you log in.
Okay. All right. So if I wanted Dre to have one, I had to pay $79 for
Yeah.
him to have one, but you don't mind screen.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. Okay.
Now, if you have two people in your company, you can actually create two user accounts with different usernames and passwords. That doesn't cost any extra. And then, you know, if you're not always like someone's on the road driving and the other person's in the office, then you could log in when they're done driving during the day. They want to log in, they can log in at night, and that doesn't cost any extra. That's still one user. But if you're both in the office during the day and you both want to log in at the same time, then you would need a second license.
So only one person can log in at a time under a user.
Per license. No, per license.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we can load from using this software, right?
Yep, you can book your loads through here.
I'm saying load it onto the.
Oh, load board. Yeah, as a broker, yeah, you can load, you can post everything. Then the checklist of load boards, it automatically will post to those load boards.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to go back and do it individually.
Which is smart too.
You just type it in there and post it, and it goes to all 3 or 5 of however many load boards you got. It'll post on all those load boards.
Yep.
Then it was also a screen where it's a rate. You could check if you want to put the rate on there. So on DAT, you could put the rate on there. TruckStop, you could leave the rate off of it.
Okay.
Right. So that's what Tyris is talking about right here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to include the rate on there. Cause then that's when we be looking at it and we got to call and ask how much. That's the same thing they doing. They not putting them out on there.
Stop shopping, man.
Well, thank you for this information.
You're very welcome. And keep in mind, I'm just giving you some broad strokes. This is a really high-level overview. There's a lot of nooks and crannies in the system that, you know, once you start using it and you start dealing with your day-to-day tasks and things you have to accomplish, that you'll discover, hey, wow, it does this. Hey, wow, it does that. You know, there's a lot of things that it does. And we're always improving it and always making new enhancements. For example, right in front of me, I see this button, update driver's location. We didn't have this option before. Before, if you want to know where the driver was, they had to have GPS. And if you want to enter in where they were, you'd have to put it in like a dispatch note, you know, driver in Smithtown, New York, whatever. You'd have to do something like that. But now we have this new button here that you can just add driver's location and save it. And now that will show up on the map and it'll show up exactly when that driver was updated. So that's just a small example of new feature that we just added, but we're always adding new stuff. So any other questions for today?
No, I think that's it. I think you answered everything.
Okay.